Good evening, everyone. I'm Vishnu Ektab, and in front of all of you, I'm presenting the Wall Street Journal newspaper headline. So, first of all, Democrats Warnock wins tied Georgia Senate race. Next, Methas targeted ads face curbs in Europe. Next, security concerns about TikTok's slow deal with the US. Next, investors young money from property funds. Next, Sparkles icing and litigation. Next, Russians seized Ukraine farmland. Then we comes to page number 2 in that housing cost appear poised to ease. Next, US trade deficit widened in October. Next, property funds sees outflow. Next, Arizona cheap plant rises investment to $40 billion. Next on page number 3 in that Trump organization found guilty of criminal tax fraud. Next, Colorado suspects faces 305 charges. Next, North Carolina sees third day of outages. Then on page number 4 in that Warnock wins race in Georgia. Next, allies seek to solidify backing for McClarty. Next, defense bill drops vaccine mandate. Next, IRS proposes new rules on land conversion deals. Next, on page number 5, in that DOJ subpoenas official in state targeted by Trump's. Next, Congress honors officers who defended US Capitol. Next, Giant 6 panel will make criminal referentials. Next, TikTok's US pact in delayed. Then we comes to page number 6 in that bidding begins for California offshore wind rights. Next, outside panel calls for agency overhaul. Next, gut bacteria are linked to depression. Next, Cavthron told to pay for ethics violation. Next, gun clip restriction is cleared by judge. Then on page number 7 in that Moscow says drones hit third airfield. Next, Hungary blocks plan to raise $18.9 billion for Ukraine. Next, Balkin says goal is to push Russia back to pre-war lines. Then on page number 8 in that Putin mobilizes economy for war. Next, oil cap leads to tanker traffic jam. Next, supply chain issues slow global arms sales. Next, relentless strike rattle Kherson residents. Then on page number 9 in that Indonesia bans sex outside of marriage. Next, Meta adds face curves in ruling. Then on page number 10 in that cookie fight heats up. Next, Russian take farms in Ukraine. Next, on page number 11 in that the hot city restaurant want to conquer the burbs. Next, are edibles healthier than alcohol? And on page number 12 in that fashion detectives can find anything for a price. Next, a real horse opera at the meet. Then on page number 13 in that a fairy tale amid fascism. Next, on page number 14 in that Portugal benches Ronaldo. Next, Morocco stuns Spain in shootout. Next, Kings seeks to snap playoff drought. Then on page number 15 in that Twitter and disinformation wars. Next, the urgency of leaving Trump behind. Next, when accurate data are bad PR. Next, truth and lies after the battle. Then on page number 16 in that the Supreme Court election opening. Next, Chuck Schumer marijuana defense bill. Next, John Eastman bad defense gets worse. Next, Eastman on America's constitutional crisis. Next, military mission creep at the end of history. Next, what kind of regulation is fit for crypto? Next, a policy proposal for RMDs and retirement planning. Next, where readers find news. Next, judge based on law alone. Then on page number 17 in that judges are not part of the legislature. Next, blockchain is much more than crypto. Next, who's afraid of Randi Wengerten? Next, bipartisan schedule for presidential primaries. Next, on page number 18 in that Israel's left wing licks wounds. Next, Hong Kong anthem is a problem for Google. Next, late leader is mourned as great Marxist. Next, vice president gets 6 years in fraud case. Next, leaders electoral plan fall in Congress. Next, five protesters are sentenced to death. Next, developing countries hit with high debt. Next, economists divided on interest rate rises. Then on page number 19, in that oil prices, energy stocks diverge. Next, S&P Dow fall after new data increase rate fears. Next, Airbus to miss delivery target. Next, Meta panel finds VIPs received unfair lifts. Next, Joule reaches settlement of over 5,000 suits. Next, FDA fast tracks over the counter Narcan spray. Then on page number 20, in that lawmakers want answers from Silvergate about FTX transfers. Next, Airbus deliveries lagging. Next, Meta panel criticizes VIP boost. Next, Juhal reaches settlement. Next, Narcan version is expedited. Then on page number 21, in that former LVMH executive to lead Parada. Next, sports merchandiser Fanatics rises $700 million. Then on page number 22, in that BuzzFeed plans to lay off 12%. Next, HBO Max comes back to Amazon. Next, deal is set to buy home security firm. Next, Bezos bids again for Moonlander. Next, Pinterest broad ads officially from Elot. Then on page number 23, in that Musk document release spurs exit. Next, Honda SUVs face recall inquiry. Next, Microsoft promises to put Call of Duty game on Switch. Then on page number 24, in that replacing death malls can be a struggle. Next, Black Friday status dims as stores sales fall short. Then on page number 30, in that natural gas prices are pressured by unseasonal slump. Next, China easing fuel market swings. Next, oil and stock diverge. Then on page number 31, in that Goldman CEO is preparing for a recession. Next, stocks move lower. Then on page number 32, in that Tesla's new EV will fill up on subsidiaries. Next, Alzheimer's drugs street has doctor debate effect. Next, China's healthy industry face titanic shifts. Then that much for today. Thanks for watching. Make a good day.